why you shouldn't just focus on being the best at one skill. I want you to ditch that idea of trying to be the best at just one skill. Now, it might be easy to think like, well, if I become the best at this skill, then I'm the best in the world, then I'm going to get success. But that's not actually true. When you look at the LeBrons, the Michael Jordans, the Ronaldos, the Messis of the world, they're not just good at one skill. They're good, and this is the trick, at an array of skills. And they find the intersection of where, if you're in the top 10% of being an amazing tackler, plus you've got charisma and you're able to speak and hold a crowd, plus you're in the top 10% of entertainers, like you just have an entertaining personality, you're good with people, you're good at networking, you're good at making it through and making important connections so that you can make important deals. If you've got 10 plus 10 plus 10 and you're in the top 10% of people in all of those skills, you're in a much more powerful position, because what we're doing there is skill stacking. You're not just placing your bets on one skill and saying, I'm going to be the best at this skill, because that's probably not going to happen. It's probably not going to happen. What you want to get focused on is skill stacking. And what complementary skills can you build that actually are rare and unique and differentiate you from the crowd, yet they're so complementary that if you learn these skills, you stand out in a new way because you're in the top 10% of this plus this plus this, and that compounds, and it actually brings you higher than the person that is aiming to be the best at just tackling. Cool, you're a great tackler, but you're rubbish with people. Cool, you didn't get the deal, you didn't get on that team. Great tackler, but you're rubbish with socializing. Right, it's telling a story. What if you're a master storyteller, but you're rubbish? Okay, you can't carry the crowd. You've not got that charisma, that enthusiasm to bring the crowd with you, to bring the fans with you. So therefore you don't get the sponsorship deals. Can you see how this works? What if you're an accountant? You're very good with numbers. You're amazing at doing accountancy and whatever accountants do, but you don't have that confidence to present internally. And therefore you're blocked from getting that promotion because you're not able to articulate your message in a way that's compelling. And you don't actually stand up for what you want or what you know is right or true. And therefore you get bulldozed by louder voices, more open and entertaining voices, voices that can carry the crowd and get a message across. So if you're an accountant, building the skill of being able to maybe do theatrics, going to the theatre and practicing that and learning that can actually help you accelerate in your career. Or you're an accountant that does part-time soap opera. You appear in movies and TV shows on the weekends. That's going to help you in accountancy because it's going to help you be able to step out of your comfort zone. You have these complementary skills that aren't related, yet they're complementary. And suddenly, boom, your career takes off because you're able to bring this skill into this dimension and you're able to stack these skills. And you find the intersection that where you're in the top 10% of accountants and you're also in the top 10% of TV extras. And suddenly there's this sweet spot that when you combine that with your love of networking and your love of being interested in other people and doing things that are outside of your comfort zone, maybe you go kayaking with your boss or go to play golf even though you don't play golf, like your love of just being with people, you get this sweet spot where you've got the top 10% of all these activities and you become a very successful person financially, economically. Career trajectory, career advancement opens up for you. And this is because you focused your energy on becoming the master of a few skills and not aiming to be the master in terms of 1%, top 1% were amazing, aiming to be the master in terms of just getting into the top 10%. Jesse Itzler says that if you practice something for 18 minutes a day, every day, for a year, that's 100 hours of practice. And if you do that, you would actually be in the top 95% of everybody in the world at that thing. So therefore, if that's the truth, and I'm telling you, you just need to get into the top 10%, we can divide that by half, and you only need to do it for 9 minutes a day. If you were to practice these skills, one skill for 9 minutes a day, if you're just out there socializing, you're ordering your coffee. What about if you were ordering your coffee and you got to know the barista a little bit better? You asked really solid questions and you just engaged your people skills and your network. What if you talked to a stranger? What if you did kind things for someone that you don't know? Like all of these different complementary skills, 9 minutes a day, 9 minutes a day. 9 minutes a day? What if you just went on a run for 9 minutes a day? What if you looked at how to code for 9 minutes a day, or picked up an instrument and practiced for 9 minutes a day? All of these skills are going to build, and at the end of the year, you've done 100 hours in that skill. Well, actually, in 9 minutes, you've done 50 hours, which would put you in the top 10% of all the people in the world, which is exactly what I'm talking about. That then you'd have 6 skills that you're in the top 10% of all the people in the world at, that actually have complementary benefits. And when you stack them, suddenly you're creating this world where you're a very attractive person, both into the job market, into your current career, but also just in terms of like what you have access to, in terms of the people that you've networked with, the people that have come into your circle. Last point on this, once you do that, you start to see trends, you start to see things in your life that aren't so, or shouldn't be so. If you're wanting to be an entrepreneur that makes $1,000 a day, but you're hanging out with entrepreneurs that are failing, you're not going to get that $1,000 a day. It's just a pure osmosis. You're not hanging out with people that are doing the thing that you're wanting to do. Therefore, you're not going to think like them. Whereas when you're skill stacking, when you're going out there and you're putting yourself out there to learn new skills that are different and differentiated and rare, it puts you in a new place. It puts you in a new place where you can meet different people that are potentially doing the things that you would like to actually do. So you can actually raise your social status and your social group to actually be a reflection of where you're going and what you want to achieve, which is very important when you're an entrepreneur or a founder of a business. Who you're hanging out with daily, who you're hanging out with and you call friends is important. So take a look at that and then understand that, like, you joining that fencing class or you going to that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class and rolling with the guys, like, that is actually the key to your success. But yet you're thinking, hang on, I can't take time off the business here. This is a dilution of my efforts. Hard work all the way, which it is. It's hard work all the way, but sometimes just you breaking out and going to that BJJ class actually gets you to meet that other entrepreneur that is making $1,000 a day. And the one idea that he gives you, and you become friends, the one idea that he gives you then sets you on a whole new track, a whole new path. You're like, hang on, I hadn't thought about it that way. Maybe I've got to redo things. Maybe actually I will go to that event that you're talking about. I'll go along with you. And you can see how that changes the course of your life and how you're learning discipline in fencing or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And then you apply it to your productivity and you apply discipline and focus to your business rather than just doing the work and beating it down and thinking that's it. Think about it like, I don't have to be the exact 100% top 1% best at this skill. I can make complementary skills. I can make complementary skills in other areas that are very differentiated from where I'm at and what I'm doing. Yet actually the skills and the practice that I'm learning from them, when I become in the top 10%, I become rare and unique. And that in itself differentiates me. Just think of engineers that are able to go out and hold a crowd and talk and public speak. Not every engineer is going to be able to do that. Yet if you can do that, and you can also talk in executive boardrooms, you can bring investors in, you can talk and simplify the technical details and put it in layman's terms that actually people understand in a humorous way, you're going to be very attractive and thus get paid more and thus get hit up more to come and join different companies. You're going to be very attractive to the job market, but very attractive if you're just in business for yourself. There's lots of things. Being an amazing author doesn't mean that your work gets seen. You've got to be able to market. You've got to be able to persuade and build relationships with people at the publishing houses so that you get a great deal and that you actually choose the right publishing house and the right people to represent you and the right people to do a deal with, because that's going to differentiate you from everyone else. And if you're not able to do that, your work doesn't get seen. And therefore, even though you're the magnificent author in terms of what you're saying, if you aren't able to get on YouTube and do lives and do host workshops and go and do public speaking. Imagine the person that's able to do public speaking and nail it. Ed Milet is a good example, right? He's got the skills from an investor standpoint, an entrepreneurial standpoint. He's very empathetic and good with people. Like when you listen to Ed, his voice, it's soothing, yet it touches your heart. It's got deep emotion into it. He's an author, right? So he's good with words. He's good at structuring, capturing minds and hearts through stories. And then he's able to go out there and dominate, right? He's got a competitive streak in him that people can align to. So you can see yourself in him and you can go with him. And so he's a master probably above 10% in all of those facets, yet that allows him to create an empire. And it's the same for you. You've got to build the empire of you by focusing on the different skills that you're going to stack to then bring that to yourself and go, hey, this is who I am. This is how I'm differentiated. That's just a piece on skill stacking and why you shouldn't go all in on trying to be in the top 1% on one skill.